This is For the Creators. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of For the Creators. I know it's been a while, the schedule's been a bit off recently, but our next episode on Friday will explain why. Today we sit down with Laurie B, who is a qualified health lecturer, but she's also a fantastic makeup artist. She's had over 16 years experience and is also qualified in fashion and editorial makeup. Her meticulous attention and focus on health, as well as the appearance of skin, has helped her acquire the nickname The Skin due to the flawless foundation application she's able to produce, as well as the health-related advice she's able to provide her models and clients. So it's a bit different today. This is a really interesting one because we wanted to explore the relation between makeup, which is a massive creative industry, but also your health, because it's something creative that applies to your body. So, I mean, ladies, this one's for you mainly, and I mean, if there's any guys out there that wear makeup, this one's for you too. But otherwise, there's some really good health tips in here. You know, our skin is our biggest organ, and we need to take care of it. So even if you're not into makeup, there are some good tips in here for you. So definitely have a listen, take some notes, and enjoy our conversation with Laurie B.
So where did you grow up in London town?
So I was born and raised in West London, spent a little while in South London, and then returned back to West London. So the majority of the time it's been West London.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Is that where you went to school?
Yeah, went to school, Fulham Cross for girls. Some people say, oh my gosh, she's one of them. She went to a girls' school. I'm a very good girl, just have to add. So, yeah. So primary school and high school in West London. I did my A-levels after that in West London also, and then went on to do my degree at the, it's now London Met, but it was the University of North London.
I went to London Met.
Oh,
yes.
Whoop, whoop, alumni.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to London Met. I studied business and business law there.
Oh, wow.
I joined a couple of years after you.
Nah. I'm sure you a long time.
No. A couple of years after you left.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Not when you started.
That's why I was like,
So have you always had an interest in health and beauty growing up? Where did that all start for you?
Yeah. I from as far back as I can remember, probably like late teens, I actually remember watching programs that had something to do with people getting made over.
Okay.
I mean, the more recent ones would be things like How to Look Good Naked, or
Right.
How to Look, I can't remember, it's something to do with like the one where you have to 10 years younger, that's it. And I always had this thing, Extreme Makeover. That was the one that started me off. And this is the one where they didn't just change their clothes, they changed their features. So I used to be glued to this.
Right.
So at one point my mum thought, oh my gosh, she wants to be a plastic surgeon because she's just like every minute
Obsessed.
looking at all these things. But
Yeah.
I think it was the whole transformation thing. It wasn't the plastic surgery. I do like Botched, which is a current program. I can see like what?
No, I've heard of it.
What's TV?
Was it on E?
Yes,
E-Entertainment,
yes.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
watched it for ages, but I like those kind of programs. But I do also like health-related programs. So when you think about the two coming together, there is some kind of thread.
What attracted you to those kind of physical transformational programs?
I think because I always liked studying people's makeup, and also I think one of the triggers was sitting in the hairdressers with my mum, my auntie and my grandma, and just watching them. The days of the curly perm, the days of the curly perm when it was like 10 hours you'll be in there. And I think that whole transformation, watching women come in like with their head dipped down and then they're walking out like the supermodel. Yeah, like look at me and
Hair
swishing
flicking,
and
everything.
curly perm gel going all over the place. Or, you know,
Let your soul go.
that's the one. So
Do you know
I think,
what?
yeah.
It's so bad because I think every black female has been through the curly perm trauma. Been
and
there.
it is trauma. Been there.
It's like a ritual.
Done that.
Rites of
Yeah.
passage.
Yeah, because your mum will always think, well, you're not going to go straight to relaxer so you can have the curly perm, and you're just like wet.
Yes,
constantly.
And you go to someone's house or sit in someone's car, and you can see where someone with curly perm, the window or the headrest.
Leave the trail.
Oh yeah, definitely. You've seen that on the bus, especially
and the bus and the tube. Yeah, and it's like someone with curly perm is sitting here.
Exactly.
It's like a mist on the bus.
And the actual process, it stank.
Oh gosh, I know that ammonia or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I think that was the
process.
Primary trigger.
So seeing how they came in and how they walked out.
Yeah, it fascinated me. Just sitting there watching, like it's like being in Wimbledon, just watching. Yeah. That fascinated me.
So that grabbed you.
Yeah.
There's like a power there.
I just was like, wow, look at her now. Wow, I think that was the start. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
because the black hairdresser is the only place that if you say to a white person, "I'm going to hairdresser," oh yes, so we can still meet up for dinner. No,
we can't.
Going to be there for the whole day.
It's a whole day of it. Yeah,
I might be there tomorrow.
Exactly. Who knows?
I don't know how.
But your appointment's at 9. Yeah.
That's the sit down and wait.
Yeah,
your appointment to sit down and wait is at 9.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that was
So you studied early childhood studies.
That's right. Yeah.
And early childhood education and teaching at the University of North London.
And studying at the University of North London.
Oh,
sorry, studying.
Yeah.
at the University of North London. That doesn't relate to health and beauty. Can you tell us a bit about that time in your life?
Okay, so from the age of 10, I said, I'm going to be a teacher. And I used to say it all the time. And that really, when I reflect on that, it really makes me recognise the power of our words, because I used to say it all the time. And like so many children, mainly girls, if I'm honest, you line up your teddy bears and your dolls and you have your register and you, Bobo, yes, miss. Sally, yes, miss. Yeah, I had my class. And everybody knows that when I've got my teddy bears and whatever out, nobody was to talk to me because I was teaching. And that was from, like I said, when I started actually saying it, it was from 10. But I knew I wanted to be a teacher from a young age. And one of the things that I found was that when I did start teaching, the younger children, because the degree that I did was specifically to teach in early years. So when I did start teaching, I then recognised, when they gave me more responsibility, like student mentor and so on, I realised that the students that were coming in weren't ready to work with young children, and something was missing between what they were being taught in college to when they were coming to the workplace. And I thought, rather than me sit in the staff room and be one of the other teachers moaning, I want to change that.
Right.
So I then left early years and went into further education to then work with the people who I was moaning about,
right.
to try and create that change, because I'm a firm believer in, it's very easy to sit down and complain about something, but why not be part of the solution rather than be part of the problem? So, yeah, I cried a lot when I left early years teaching, and there was a bit of a period where I was working with children and families who were at risk. So there was a kind of segment of time where I left teaching in early years and did a year of working with children and families. And people often say to me, well, why didn't you just go straight into teaching, college and higher education? But I was still doing my degree, so I couldn't lecture until I finished my degree.
Right.
But I knew I didn't want to be in early years anymore. And I think, although it seems a bit random, I think that some of the most learning and most coaching that I got to work with some of the young people that I work with now was when I worked with children and families at risk and the issues they were dealing with.
So that was like boot camp.
Totally.
That 1 year.
I was chased in cars, spat at in the face, threatened, had a knife held to me, because I'd be turning up sometimes with police officers, emergency protection orders, when removing your child. So,
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You never really, because most of the time when you think about those situations, you just think, oh, they're coming to take the child, but you don't
Yeah,
really, that's
you don't
another
realise
human
that's
being that
part of
has
their
to
life.
do that.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
a person as well. Like, you're
Yeah.
not just this horrible person that, you
No.
know, just wants to ruin their life. You're doing it for the safety of the
Yeah.
child. But then,
You know.
yeah, it's almost like how we view the police sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, they're individuals too, and they
They
just
have
have to do their
lives
job.
and family.
Because it's
Yeah.
nice that we want them to do their job when they're saving us, but
Yeah.
we don't want them to do their job necessarily when
When
we're
it
the
affects
person
that-
in the
yeah,
line of fire.
Totally,
So.
totally, yeah. And I mean, although that was a colourful 12 months, I learned so much about how to be grateful for what I have, because there's so many people out there who don't have what I see as a norm, you know, to have a normal bed, full stop, not be sleeping on the floor in a flat, an empty flat, because a parent is strung out on crack, for example.
Wow.
To,
And you're not seeing that. If you're just looking at, like, there's millions of flats in London. You're seeing
Absolutely.
closed doors. When you open those
Yeah.
doors, what's behind
what's
it?
behind
Do
you?
you know, it's so funny
Yeah.
because I experienced that last night. Because I went to get something out of my car and I heard this noise. And I was thinking, oh, what's that? Because there's like at the back of my flat, because I live on the high street, there's a charity. So at the back of the flat is a charity's bins.
Yeah.
And there were people there taking things out of the bin. And I just thought to myself, I'd never even contemplated
Yeah.
to do that. And it just made me see how privileged I am.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
they were there and you could see when I saw them, they felt embarrassed.
Yeah.
But I just
Yeah.
thought, oh my God. And I went back inside and I thought, wow. I think they were crackheads as well, to be
Yeah,
honest.
possibly.
But still, they're
Yeah,
still
they're
human
still-
beings.
Absolutely. And when you do that kind of work, it really does tenderize your heart, because it's so easy to look from the outside in and make assumptions and make
Judgments.
presumptions and say, oh, well, they should just go and get a job. But what if you have no place, fixed abode? You can't just go and get a job
Exactly.
because you need a fixed address. So
Yeah, exactly.
what am I putting on the
The thing is,
application
it's
form?
like, why do you need a fixed address to get a job?
I used to say that.
I guess for companies, it's probably a qualification process.
It's probably a form of
But what-
security.
but on the flip side, it's like, let me get the job so I can
so
get
that
a
I
fixed
can
address.
get the fixed address.
They obviously don't
Yeah.
care.
They
about
don't
that.
care. Yeah,
yeah.
it's such a struggle.
But it really has helped me to deal with the students that I have now.
Just limp. Yeah, so it really helps you. Yeah, that gives you that grounding, that kind of toolkit, I suppose.
Yeah. So when students say to me, you don't understand, and I say to them, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Talk to me,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
So then 11 years later, in
Yeah.
2013, you attended the London College of Fashion to study fashion and editorial makeup.
Yeah.
What made you decide to change careers? Because the thing is, what I'm seeing here is you don't sound like someone that hated what you were doing. You seem to enjoy teaching and
Yeah.
you know, working with children. So,
Yeah.
well, what was the turning point? What made you decide to give that all up, something that you love, to then pursue something that's so far removed
I
from
know
what you're
people
doing
say
as
that,
well?
like, what? How? But what? Like, I think for me, I was still watching Extreme Makeover,
there you
How to
go.
Look Good Naked. 10 years younger, I was still watching those programs. But I think it was a suppressed love, because while I was lecturing from 2000, during my progress or process of teaching in higher education and further education, I actually became head of department. So I was the head of health and community studies at Brent.
All right.
And I got to a point where I could do the job with my eyes closed.
Okay, so you
And
plateaued.
yeah.
Yep.
And when that happens, I'm like, nah,
Something
I'm
else.
bored. Yeah, I was spending like 13-hour, 14-hour days at work, because I've got this thing where I don't like to leave and come back to yesterday's emails. I like
Right.
to,
Inbox zero.
yeah, that absolutely. If it's like random things, then I'm just leave it. But if it's like big crucial things, then I'll be like, no, let me respond. So like I'll be there at 8:30 in the morning, and then security's banging down the office door. Your car's the last one in the car park at 8:45. So it's like, what are you doing? Why are you're watching your life go by, stuck in this office with the odd lecture? This is not life. It's not
So
life.
when did the penny drop?
So the pinnacle came when my grandfather passed away in 2010. And he said to me, he always used to say, live your life. Live your life. And it's so, I laugh now because I just think, I could just imagine him saying, invasion, I tell you, live your life. Yeah. And after
Live your life.
Yeah, live your life. And after I went to Barbados and went for the funeral, obviously, I came back and I handed my notice in. And everyone was in absolute shock because I hadn't complained about the job. I was sailing along. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I did a stint of some consultancy, so going to different colleges, working with like section leaders, program managers who were struggling with their cohorts, with their students, staff needed supporting. So I'd go in and do stuff like that, but I still was bored. Until one day, a friend was going to get married in Jamaica. And she didn't really want to spend a lot of money on like the makeup side of things.
Yep.
I said, I'll do it.
Were
So-
you always like dabbling in makeup?
Yes,
Were you someone
when we
just
go
had,
out,
like, loads
parties,
of makeup at
and,
home?
yeah, always like, oh, shall I try your brows? Shall I do this? Why don't you do this? And it wasn't just the makeup. It was like putting outfits together and stuff as well.
So the whole
Package. Although
Style
no, I'm not
makeover.
going down that road of styling, but yeah. But I always loved that whole, again, transformation.
Okay, yes.
But I remember doing the trial on one of her sisters, and I did her eyebrows, and everyone came in the kitchen where we were and burst out laughing and was like, what have you done to her brows? And it was so funny because from that moment on, I was hell-bent. I was saying, I'm never going to let that happen again.
Yeah. How
I'm
did it-
going to hone my skills.
Yeah.
And I'm going to really make sure that the things that I'm scared of, brows and doing lips, like strong lips, I'm going to work at it. I'm going to work damn hard at it. So people don't come and burst out laughing at my work. Do you know, like,
Yeah.
so I worked at it. And soon after that wedding, which was in, 2012, then I went to London College of Fashion. Yeah.
So, because you had that moment, that embarrassing moment, did that make you want to go back into education to really hone in on the craft, or was it?
Because of the laughter at the brows.
Yeah, was that the moment that?
I said, I need to do a course. Because I remember sitting down with my mum. She's a very wise woman. She's quite quiet, but she doesn't chat a lot like me at all. But when she responds, she comes out with things. It's like drop the mic moment. And you're kind of like just sitting there like, okay, thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I really like doing this makeup. I need to take it more seriously. I need to, I was sitting there going on the tablet and looking at all these courses and saying, that looks good, that looks good. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it when I get paid. Like, and she just gave me a side eye. And she was like, I was like, why? What have I done? She said, you're saying you're going to do it when you get paid. And then she got up, disappeared, came back with her debit card, and she was like, book it.
Oh wow,
She said, because if you keep saying, I'm going to do it when I get paid, you're not going to do it.
that's right.
You're not going to do it. So my mum really is the one who gave me, I won't say the push, she shoved me in the direction of taking it much more seriously.
Yeah.
you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Because now you're returning to education all these years later, going from being the lecturer to being the student. So what was that transition like for you? And also
It
being
was
surrounded by
younger
people.
students.
Yeah.
It was tough, and it was an intense course, so it wasn't one of those ones that was like 3 years long. So we had to do like loads of different looks, study different looks, and then do an end of course presentation. So there were like students who'd flown in from South Korea just to do the course, people from like Ireland, Portugal, Spain, just like flying from all over the world. And I was like, wow, and I'm just walking like 15, 20 minutes to get here. This is like amazing.
Yeah.
What's the
You
entry
know.
criteria? Sorry to cut you.
You have to have a passion for makeup, and you have to have some kind of previous history of, doesn't have to be paid, but some kind of practical skills in doing it.
Which you had
But
the wedding.
I had the weddings and
events, I
other like,
suppose.
and
Yeah.
also I did an online level 2 course in makeup, which kind of gave me an idea of like the do's and don'ts of basic
Right,
makeup.
right.
But this was
Okay.
kind of like jumping in with both feet, not knowing what the depth was.
What was that like? going
Scary.
from lecturing students to being lectured as a student.
Exciting, but scary, because the tutor as well, she didn't play. But I'm glad, because it made you fix up and listen. Like, there was no nudging and, look at what you did with her eyebrows. You just, like, had to listen. And she'd walk around and be like, well, does that look like what I've just showed you? And you're not realising that your hands are shaking with the brush, like, no, it doesn't. But I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it. So it was like, I think I came away with it thinking, I hope I don't make students
Feel like
that. Yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
did it improve your skills?
It improved my skills, yeah. But I definitely came away with a thing of, I don't want to ever make somebody
But did
feel...
did it improve your skills as a
fix
lecturer
me
as
up.
well?
Yeah, totally.
Make
Because
you
it
more,
made me think,
like,
how do I speak?
Empathic. And,
Delivery.
Yeah. How do I speak to students? And when I'm trying to draw information out of them, am I interrogating them or am I encouraging them?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
So how long was the course? Because you said it was more intense than
It was
3
more
years.
intense. So in the face-to-face, in the actual classroom, it was only a week, but it was long days of, you came
Just
out with
a
a
week?
headache. Yeah. And then you had to choose a designer and a specific collection, and then write a makeup brief and then demonstrate the brief on your chosen model.
That's insane.
And is that
It
one
was-
look or multiple looks?
Only one look, thankfully. Yeah, so you had to draw up your concept and then do it for real.
And did you have to include any like external help? So maybe a hairdresser or anything like that? Or did you have to do the whole thing?
If you didn't have headwear, then yes, you could. It wasn't a done deal. You didn't have to have a hairstylist, but I had headgear. Phew. So, yeah, I had accessories.
So what did you leave with after that, after you completed the course?
More of a hunger for the makeup artistry. I was like, okay, I need to just go out there now. And I think because I had such a hunger, I made so many mistakes, and not with the makeup, but with my ability to choose the jobs that I actually went and done. Because I actually worked as a makeup artist on various projects and didn't get paid a penny for like just over a year.
Why do you think that was?
I think because I was just so willing to do it that I allowed myself to be taken advantage of.
Right.
And I think if that's one thing I could say, like, to anybody who is interested in going down that road, that yes, there are still things that I would do unpaid now, but I would be very selective. It's not everything that you choose. It's not everything that you say yes to, because every time you say yes and it's totally against your niche or your brand, you're actually devaluing your brand.
Exactly.
You know, and you have there therefore is no theme. There's no, it's just random, and people don't know who you are. You then come across as a sort of like schizophrenic brand.
But isn't there a thin line between gaining experience as well and working for free?
Totally.
How do you know where to draw the line? Because I assume that when you came out, now you've got these skills. You want to practice these skills, and in order to
Absolutely.
get those jobs that are going to pay you what you want, you also need to do something.
Absolutely. And the thing is, one of the things that I didn't really take the time to find out about was assisting roles. Assisting roles are really like, they're brilliant. There's some people now who are heading, makeup looks for massive runway shows like Chanel and Dior and, different high-end brands. And they started as assistants to Pat McGrath, for example. I mean, if I assisted Pat McGrath today, my hands would be
Amazing.
shaking again. I mean, yeah.
Because she's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's the lady who's the billionaire through
Oh,
makeup.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we had to...
And
tell
she
her.
didn't have a qualification. She didn't have a qualification. She started just through her own natural skills, and I think if I'd known that, I would have been a lot more strategic with the projects that I worked on, rather than just going, okay.
Exactly.
And then coming away with no images, and then like saying to photographers, oh, can I have the images? And then they either blank your emailers or say, I'll get back to you. And then they post them on social media and you're screenshotting them because you've got nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just...
But you live and
yeah.
you learn, I think.
Totally.
Part of it as well is sometimes you have to learn things
Yeah.
organically and learn things the hard way.
I'm grateful for it. I am grateful because then I can help other people coming along
Definitely.
to say, well, it's not a no, I'm not doing any unpaid, but be selective.
Absolutely. And also,
Yeah.
like, you learn that lesson, you can apply it in a new way
Yeah.
in what you're doing now. 'Cause-
Totally.
And I think that's a good lesson for anyone listening in whatever projects or field that you're in, is that some projects are worth more than the monetary value, because it can give you more in terms of marketing, word of mouth, etc.
Yeah.
But you do have to literally sit there and weigh it up. Is it worth me doing this or not? Because sometimes just saying yes or anything, like you said, can just devalue and
Yeah.
take you off route.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've worked on some amazing projects. Like, for example, I worked on a shoot with Asiko, who's a conceptual photographer.
Asiko is who's
He's
interviewed for the show.
That's
yeah.
right.
He's absolutely amazing. His work's amazing. He just gets it.
yeah.
And the end result was the work ended up in Sean Magazine, CNN Africa.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa, like the African Gallery of African Art in Mayfair,
Yes.
going in there and looking at these images, like, which are like massive on the wall, and thinking, I was a part of that. I took my mum, and my mum was like, oh my gosh, oh my
You
gosh.
made it.
How did it feel for your mum, knowing that she kind of shoved you in this direction,
She
seeing
just kept
that in Mayfair?
smiling. She just kept. It was a lovely moment. She just kept smiling. And even now, when I have like work that's published, because it's one thing for me to show her digitally, but when I actually order the print and then I show her it like there in the flesh, she just sits there turning the pages and just starts smiling.
Oh,
Yeah,
because you said she's a lady of little words.
a few words,
Yeah, a few
but
words.
yeah.
So,
That's nice.
when would you say that you became a professional makeup artist?
I still don't think I'm a professional makeup artist.
Why not?
My the way that I work is professional, but I think that being in education as well, that life is about learning. And I think that if I ever feel that I'm a professional, like that kind of, it's time to put my brushes down. I
You're
want
a serial
to be,
learner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that comes from being in education as well, and seeing that we never stop learning. I mean, I've lectured 80-odd-year-olds.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like people will be looking like, why are they coming to enroll? What are they coming to enroll for? But as long as you're living and breathing,
should be
life
learning.
is about learning.
Absolutely.
In whatever form, whatever method you choose, we're here to learn. And I think that I'm always learning something from another makeup artist. I'll say, oh, how'd you do? Oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to try that. And I'm always willing to share skills, because I think through that, as you exchange your skills, that's when you then gain your confidence, gain your, how can I put it, hone your skills, like I was saying, But I don't, it depends what the word professional means. Yeah.
I think professional means that you're not trying to be a makeup artist anymore. You're doing
Sometimes
it.
I feel like I'm still trying.
Because your work's been featured in galleries and things like that. I think
Yeah.
when you're working with people like Asiko, they're going to continuously force you to think outside of your comfort
Totally.
zone and to step outside of your
Yeah.
comfort zone. So I think
Yeah.
in that way, you're always going to be learning. But there's a big difference between you and someone who's just starting,
Yeah.
who's just going to London College of Fashion this month
Yeah.
to learn
Yeah.
how to be a makeup artist.
Yeah.
I think you give me a realization about what a professional is. And I think a professional is someone who is simultaneously learning and teaching.
Whoa.
So you're kind of mentoring, but you're also being mentored. So you're on that journey, essentially, because
Yeah.
that never
Yeah.
stops.
Never.
Because there's always new levels, new lessons,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I say that to my students. I say to them, don't think that when you finish in like your A levels or you finish uni, that's it. You're going to be the new kid on the block when you go to work. You're going to be learning again.
that's right.
And that's good. That's very good
You
that you
know,
say that to them, because
yeah.
I think that's the misconception.
It is.
So when I was at university, they make you think, oh, so because you've done this degree, when you leave, you're going to expect this salary when you get into the workplace. No, that's a lie. You
No.
need to go in there and earn your stripes
Yeah.
again, because you're the
Yeah.
newbie. And
Yeah.
then there's also the procedures and policies of that organization and their way of
Absolutely.
working that you
Yeah.
now need to learn.
Yeah.
So even when you've worked in the field for years and you change organization, it's a new
It's
learning
still-
curve.
Yeah, because I was listening to, I can't remember who it was, on Friday I was listening to a podcast, and the person was saying that every new level that you go up, you're back to square one again.
Absolutely.
Every new level, there's a different devil.
Exactly. And I was like, you know what, it's so true.
It's so
You
true.
get promoted, you then have to prove yourself in that new role. And, you know, against whatever opposition or even your own self-opposition. I can't do this. This is bigger than me. I'm scared.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
But it's also
Boy.
it's also what makes it exciting. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
we want
If
to
you
go
recognise
to,
it.
if we want to go to the next level, because when you go to the next level there's more responsibility, so you have to learn again. But I think that's what makes life exciting. When you're going through it, it's not
Yes.
exciting, but then once you get there, because what it is, it's like it's all about comfort zones. So anytime you start doing something for the first time, it's going to be difficult, but it's the excitement of it being difficult that really pushes you, because
Yeah.
you want to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then once you figured it out, then you now have to go to another level again, so
Yeah.
that you can feel that excitement to
Yeah.
figure it out
Yeah.
again, and then keep going forward. So
It's almost like you've got to be comfortable with always feeling that I'm not good enough. I'm not ready yet.
Absolutely.
I shouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
And I think if you get used to that, you're constantly going to grow.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we've been feeling that for the last 6 months. It's like
Yeah.
things keep on happening. It's like, oh, we need to learn more. We need to
Yeah.
do more, because you're just trying to play catch up with
Yeah.
the skill set that you need to learn.
And
But
this is what I was saying. If I ever feel like, oh, I've arrived,
yes,
time
Time
to
to
put
go.
my brushes down.
Absolutely.
Time to put my marker pens down and just say, I'm off.
it's a really good lesson.
Yeah.
so you've been nicknamed the Skin.
Yes.
Hey, how did that name? Who gave you the name the Skin?
Another makeup artist who always says, oh, the way that you do the skin, I love the way you do the base. I just love the way you do the skin. But it's also because of my love of the skin. From teaching, this is like, people go, well, you studied early childhood studies, but you also teach health.
Do you know that is actually one of my questions? Because
Yeah.
at no
Yeah.
point in my research did I find health as
Yeah.
a qualification.
Yeah.
So
Because part of the degree, we studied childhood health.
okay.
Yeah. So early childhood health. So talking about, common illnesses for children. But there's also an element of it where we talked about human lifespan development and the health or the factors affecting health through the life stages.
Got it.
So when I was teaching the early years in at the foundation degree level and also at the A level stage, one of the managers said, "You're really good at this. We'd like you to start teaching health." So I didn't study health at that point, but because of my experience of studying early childhood health, I was able to teach a bit of the childhood health, but then research and study and develop my skills around teaching health. in general. So I'm very much into talking about the gut. Sorry, I know people are like, what? The colon, the thyroid, and how these things have a huge impact on how the body in general operates.
Yeah.
And how the skin is an organ. So something's not going right inside. If the motor's going wrong, then you're going to get the breakdown. The shocks are going to go. The carburetor's going to go. The ignition's going to play up.
Yeah.
These are I'm just, obviously relating that to a car,
Yes.
but that's how the body works. One key thing goes wrong, it triggers other things to go wrong, and the skin is one of the things that will go wrong. Skin infections, dry skin. As common as that is, that's a cry for help from the inside out.
Makes so
wow.
much sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you have, when you have different clients when you're doing makeup,
Yeah.
are you not only applying makeup, yeah, exactly, but giving them a, what do you call it?
Consultation.
A consultation, yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, it's not only the brides that I do this with, but when I work with brides during their trial, a trial is really supposed to be about 90 minutes. But recently I had a trial that lasted 5 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Because I was talking about the skin. We were obviously looking at different looks as well. But the skin for me, if you want your makeup to look great, the skin should look great without the makeup.
That's right.
I shouldn't have to ladle your
To have
face with
something
skin
to
for
sit
you.
on.
Yeah, for you to feel great going up the aisle. I want you
Exactly.
to take that off and your husband's not looking at you after, like, the day after and going,
Who are you?
I will that.
who's that? Yeah, who's that? Where's that chick gone that I walked back down the aisle with? You know. So talking about dietary issues, lifestyle, a lot of people don't sleep enough these days. I'm guilty of that, especially over the last few weeks. And if we're not getting that quality sleep, because there's sleep and there's quality sleep.
Correct, yeah.
Between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., that's the best time to sleep. If we're not getting that rich sleep, the body's going to lack. And then the skin tells you.
The skin tells you. Yeah, it's your biggest organ.
The skin speaks, and it's your biggest organ.
So when you look at people, can you understand them by their skin, their decision making and things like that? Like,
As I turn around and look the other way.
What do you mean? As in, so
like, can you look at someone and kind of establish what kind of diet they have? And
yeah. So, for example, if somebody, for example, because sometimes it's hereditary, if somebody has a lot of like darkness under the eyes, and I don't know their family, for example, to compare them, and they seem quite. Their ability to hold attention it says to me, you're not getting enough sleep, for example.
oh, okay,
So
right,
it's
right.
mannerisms, behaviours. It's not always the case, but that's when I'll start to ask them questions so that they can unfold what their lifestyle is like.
Right.
It might be that they're going through stress at work. It might be that they've got deadlines and they're on these blue screens a lot more often than they
It's that too,
normally
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That, you know, I stare at my phone a lot, I'll be honest with you, but I know that damages my skin.
That's
So it's kind of
insane,
like,
yeah.
I know that, and I need to curb back on that, you know.
Using your phone damages your skin.
Blue screen, yeah,
My
devices
skin
as well.
must be cracked.
Stop it.
Media.
Stop it.
It's for the creators ruined my skin.
No, don't you say that. I can just
That's
see
it,
the
guys.
headlines. I'm off.
It's been nice. But my skin can no longer take this.
Oh my gosh.
It's so crazy. You don't think
Things
about
we don't
those things.
think of. Yeah. And for example, when I say about lifestyle, where people will be working so hard that they don't take minutes or half an hour to eat their lunch away from their workspace.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
made a conscious effort when I'm lecturing now. Lunchtime, get my lunch and I go to the lunchroom. I
That's
don't
right.
sit at my desk and eat. All of that creates digestive issues. Because we're getting riled up by the email, mouthful.
Yeah.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
You're not taking the time to just
Taking care
chill.
of your temple.
Not paying attention to how you chew your food. And then people wonder why they have IBS, bloating, all of these things. Your skin speaks.
I think this
Okay.
is very, very important though, because most creatives,
Don't
unless
follow
you're performing on stage, it's quite a sedentary lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're in front of a computer for hours,
Yeah.
sitting down, and you know I've done it before. When you got projects and you just got to
Get
bang it
on with
out.
it, yeah.
One, you forget to eat anyway, and when you do,
Absolutely.
you're just doing your work anyway because
And then you're just eating what's
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. And also people are not drinking enough water.
Exactly.
So they're not hydrated.
exactly.
So then you'll see people, especially in this weather, with cracks in their lower lip because the body is saying, hydrate me. You don't have to have massive vaults of water as he takes a
So
sip.
I'm just drinking while you say it.
I'm sitting there thinking,
Oh, that's not caffeine.
fail.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's tea.
Fail.
Yeah. Anyway, so vaults like, yeah, is that fail? There's a big red cross.
I'm sitting there thinking, I do that.
Yeah.
I'm not here to
that.
tell you what.
No.
Like,
This is really good though. This
I
is
do
really
that.
good.
No.
Yeah.
Literally, 'cause sometimes I feel like, and even recording the podcast, it's got me into really bad eating habits because
Because of the timings.
the timings. Because when I get home, because I work part times, when I get home, I eat, which is probably around 2,
Yeah.
and then I'm not hungry in time to come here. So then by the time I get home, that's when I'm eating again.
And it tends to be food that we can make quite quickly, which is often rich in salt and rich in sugar. Sugar causes inflammation, which causes breakouts to come and breakouts to stay. Salt causes dehydration, so that will dry your skin out. I noticed there's a lack of eye contact. I'm trying.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the
Yeah.
next question.
Swiftly.
Because now my skin's starting to itch. See how my lower lip is cracked.
How convenient you took out my lip balm while you were doing it. No, it's really good though, because ultimately everyone is a reflection of their decision making.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
how do you then apply that with your clients? Because it seems like you've got special power because you've done all the education and health and lecturing and stuff. It feels like you bring more to your toolkit than just brushes.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I say, like when I'm working with a model, for example, I'm not there to talk to her about or him about their skin. I'm there to just fulfill the brief and get them on the set. But I do tend to take time when I'm taking the makeup off to just say to them, I really want you to focus on drinking more water, and I'll give them, one of the models recently, I gave her a tub of some of the creams that I use to prep them, and she was like in shock, and she even like boomeranged it and put it on her Insta. I was just like, wow, okay, because I assume everybody else is doing that. Clearly not.
Clearly not.
Everybody's just whacking the makeup on and bye. You know, and I find that because it's such an intimate role, you're right in somebody's face. You know, so when I'm making, you know, taking the time and putting the makeup on, I'll be saying things like, just a little bit dry on the cheeks here, you know, and talk to them about maybe hormonal activity, if they're going through particular things or have they noticed any particular changes in their body and their skin. And they'll be like, wow, how did you know that? And it's not something I'll say, well, can I have 50 quid now because that was a consultation?
Sure.
I'm actually just, because for me, I believe, going back to the health side, I have a duty of care.
Yes.
But it's also about adding value. I think
Yeah.
you should always give more than you receive.
Yes.
But then on the flip side is, where do you draw the line? Because, for example, you mentioned an
5
hour
hour
and a
trial.
half consultation took 5
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
So time is also money. So how do
Absolutely.
you work around? How do you strike the balance?
I'm terrible for that, if I'm honest. I mean, I didn't turn around and charge the bride-to-be for 5 hours. I left shattered, but I felt that by doing that, I actually saved a lot of time on the actual day because I took away a lot of the stress that she had.
Exactly.
So by the time I saw her, because she'd been gazumped by another makeup artist, basically, so her emotions were already heightened, and the wedding was 5 days away. Yeah, so I had a lot of unfolding to do before I could even talk about her skin
Yes.
and the makeup. I didn't even start talking about that. I just let her get it out of her
Of
system.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't work on somebody's face and their shoulders are up here because they're so stressed out.
Exactly.
You have to just disarm them because you can see it from her point of view. The client's point of view is, well, you could just be like that other one who's just let me
Yeah.
down. How do I know you're not going to do the same thing?
Right.
So yeah.
Wow.
So on the topic of doing bridals, do you prefer creating out there looks, or do you prefer something classically beautiful, like working with a bride, for example, over maybe working with a Seiko, which is something a little bit more?
I love editorial. It's my favourite. Absolute favourite. I sit and create concepts on that little smartphone because I'll just see something like an image on the wall and I'll study the colours in the image and think, how could I like create something similar on someone's face? Using the natural shape of their face and the silhouettes of, you know, the shadow that falls against the side of someone's nose because it's a projection out of the face. So if I was to do a skyline, how would I use that? Do you know what I mean? How would I use their cheekbone to create a shadow and put maybe the shard style building down their nose bridge? for example.
Yeah.
So, you
So
know,
that's
it's
art.
Yeah, there really is.
Yeah. I mean, I've been very creative from a young age. I used to sit and write screenplays.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all coming out.
It's all coming out now, yeah. Very,
So
yeah.
do you think that's what sets you apart from other makeup artists? What would you
I-
say
I-
is the key thing outside of the fact
Outside
that
of
you're
the
a health
health
consultant?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
do you think the fact that you also have an interest in art sets you apart
Yeah.
from just being
Just
the
rocking
average?
up. Yeah. I think that because I'm able to write concepts as well as contribute to them, I think that I then am able to give a lot to a model, to a photographer, to a stylist, because I'm living the concept. I'm not just there to just do what you told me to do. Obviously, I know my place, but if it's a concept I've written, then I'm all over it. If it's a concept I haven't written, I will obviously know my place, but throw in the odd suggestion, because if, for example, it's not my concept and somebody said, I really want you to bring out her cheekbones, it's not just me doing a thick contour line down the side of his or her face, but it's about how they create the shadow, the natural shadow, by
Right.
the positioning of their face.
That makes sense.
So because I'm all about the face, the photographer might have missed that and be more looking at the angle of their body rather
Sure.
than the angle of their face. Do you see what I mean? So it's,
Interesting.
Don't think about all these things.
No, exactly.
No,
There's
we
so
just
many
see the
layers to
picture.
it.
It's tragic.
oh gosh.
My makeup routine is like, how quick can I get this done?
It's okay to be quick. It's okay to be quick. It doesn't. I'm just thinking of some of the battles I've had with students when I say, "Why are you late?" And then I look and I say, "Okay, they've got their brows done today, new lashes. That's why you're late." When they have no makeup on, they're on time.
Wow.
So I'm like, you need to speed up your, because they know that I'm a makeup artist as well. I'm like, you need to speed up your sessions. Like, this full glam thing is getting you in trouble.
Wow.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. I mean, these are my A-level second years.
And I'm seeing it from a perspective where I just wake up and go.
Yeah,
So,
I always say that.
cream
Yeah.
and go. So I wouldn't even consider that as part of a, getting up and getting out routine.
Although I do have male clients who, and have in the past, spend more time getting ready than female clients because they're wearing coverage.
What's coverage?
So foundation.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. And they are contouring, they are doing their brows. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So what would you say? What do you struggle with when it comes to your artistry?
I think that I'm very hard on myself. So sometimes when I need to just step back and leave it alone, I'm still there. Let me just do a little bit. Let me just, and it's like, stop now. Stop. Because you don't always have the luxury of messing about. And
Nah.
sometimes it's a full face, 20 minutes on set.
So how do you know when to stop? Have you kind of developed that over time? Or someone's
It's
literally
hard.
pulling you away? Stop. We've got to take them.
It used to be like that. No, I've stopped that now. I'm just like, okay, go. But I'll still be at the side of the set going, like, try to figure it out, like poking my head around the corner
Yeah.
or looking as it's being tethered on the laptop or something. And just like, oh, I just need to just go and do that left brow a little bit more, or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? So
Perfection.
it's, yeah. And I've always been hard on myself. And if anyone was to ask me what my faults are, that's one of my faults, that I need to not be so hard on myself. However, I do think that has helped me to grow a lot as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about striking a balance.
Totally. And in the different facets of my professional life, it's and personal life, that I think, like we've said earlier, it's all about evolving. It's all about growing. It's all about developing. So I think that's all coming from being the forever student.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to new makeup artists about thriving in today's competitive market?
Be you. Don't stare at anybody else. Don't look at what everybody else is doing. Focus on what your own strengths and what your own skills are. Don't look at how many followers somebody has got, because that's something that used to get to me. And it's, I realised that when you just are yourself and you post and go. I've got a blog article that I'm currently writing that's called Post and Go, and it's all about not, posting and then going quickly and checking what somebody else has written and comparing it. That unhealthy comparisons is the cause of many a slow death. It really is. Where people have,
joy.
Yeah, totally. Where people have got such great skills, but they're so blinded by what other people are doing that they don't celebrate themselves. And I that's one thing I would say to makeup artists, new and old. Don't get into that habit of watching what other people are doing, because then comes in the resentment, the bitterness, the jealousy, the hate, the envy. It's a distraction.
Also like what Stormzy said in the video that we posted on our profile recently, and it's to focus on the craft. So if you focus on being excellent at what you do, then everything else will follow.
Absolutely.
Because likes on social media are so fickle as well. And if we think about how we interact with social media, you might genuinely scroll past something that you like. You might not even like it. It's not a reflection of how good or bad someone else is. And if you're constantly looking over on someone else's plate, your food's going to get cold too. So you literally have to find a way to just know what you're doing. And it's the same for us, because sometimes I find it more difficult than Ryan, I think, when it comes to podcasts. I'm like, oh, God, another one. And then Ryan's like, no, but it's good. It's good for the market. It's good for us as well, because the more people that come in, the better it's going to be for us. So it's just understanding that there is no comparison, really, because no one can be you.
Absolutely. We all have our own path, our own skills, our own niche. So it's...
Exactly. I like the whole post and go thing. I think that really resonates, because I think even if you're not comparing to someone else, you might just post and then I'm waiting for the likes to come in. Waiting for the comments. Do you know what I mean? And then you can compare against even your own thing. Like you might have posted something that banged and like got bare retweets and then people are commenting and liking and stuff. And then you post something else and it's like,
tumbleweed moment.
But the thing is, if you understand Instagram and things like that, you also know that the algorithms play games with you.
Yes.
Exactly.
So there will be some posts that we've had that's had like 30,000 views, and you just say, that doesn't even actually make sense.
No, exactly.
And something that you feel is just genuinely amazing. You're just like, why has that only had a few? But that's why you just literally, and for me, with our socials, it's more about adding the value.
Exactly that.
And that's what we get back. So you just literally just have to, like you said, post and go.
I like that.
But on the other side as well, I was thinking, because obviously social media is one side, and I think people take for granted how much you actually need to get out there and do things and meet people as well.
Absolutely.
So how would you, what advice would you give to a young person in terms of knowing where to go to be able to surround themselves with the right people to get opportunities, like being a makeup assistant?
Yeah. I think one of the things, like I was saying earlier, was about the lack of being selective. And it's really important to know it's not every event you have to be at. So if the event is a networking event for something that's completely not relevant or related to makeup artistry, and there is no clear link, you don't have to go just because it's being put on by somebody whose other stuff you like.
Sure.
I went through a time where I was like looking, and this is why I started the Post and Go, and I was like, well, why were they invited to that launch? Well, what? And I was like, you're getting distracted. It's not everywhere you have to be. It's not everywhere you have, and you can so easily be burnt out running from event to event and be absolutely making zero impact.
That's right. Can take you off track.
Zero impact.
So how did you define your niche in terms of makeup and being like extremely selective about who you work with?
I think I looked at the fact that I was an older makeup artist, for one thing, and I never want to be like the square peg that forces itself into a round hole. I never want to try and be everyone's everything and be, hi, yeah, I'm young at heart. I could be your mum, but I'm here, because it's not cool. If it's something that's been put together for a younger person, younger group, I'm not going to be offended by that. It is what it is. it's for a younger clientele.
Right.
It's not, you know, and I think it just, like I was saying, about being selective. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
No, so it's just how do you define your niche in terms of what your style is as a makeup artist? So, for example, with Asiko, he has like a clear style as a visual artist. But how do you define your style when it can be changed based on the brief?
Okay, so with my style, what I think one of the main things is that I like a clean canvas. So even if I am going to paint a skyline on someone's face, one of the things that was drummed into our heads when we were at LCF, the London College of Fashion, no matter how harebrained the concept is, the subject always still needs to look beautiful. Mm-hmm. So if I create a skyline on someone's face, they still need to look beautiful. So the canvas still needs to be something that will attract the eye and bring pleasure to the person who's looking at it. So that's what I believe my niche is, that I'm able to recreate something, but that person is still able to look beautiful.
But is that why your foundation is always so flawless? Because that's your blank canvas.
And because I'm so passionate and obsessed, they say, with the skin, I think that I want to bring that out through my work.
Yeah.
So that it's not just, I'm not just talking about it, but I'm living and breathing it through my artistic work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
It feels like literally everything you've done in your life has given you that kind of equipment to really smash it as a makeup artist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been really good to have this conversation with you, because you really start seeing that it's more than just what's applied to the face. There's so much more thought that goes into it, and I guess that's what makes you a professional.
No, it's true.
Oh yeah,
True.
oh yeah.
Because I guess most people think about makeup as something that you apply to something else, but you're thinking about what you apply to the canvas itself.
Yes. And I think that one of the things that I've been saying a lot in the last week, it's not about me. It's not about me. And I've been talking a lot about legacy. I was having a conversation with my mum, as we do. We put the world to rights on the sofa in the front room. We talk about what needs to happen, kind of thing. And one of my things is that I was saying was, I don't believe in just being the best makeup artist or the best makeup artist to myself. I believe in, if God forbid something was to happen to me today, what will people say about me and my work?
Yes.
I don't want to be known as, oh, Laurie was such a nice person. There's lots of nice people in the world. Mm-hmm. I want to leave a legacy. And one of the legacies is, as a makeup artist, we have a duty of care to care for the skin of the people that we work on. So everything that I think about, everything that I do, everything that I'm working on now for next year and the future is all pointing towards that duty of care. That's the legacy. The mission is so much bigger than me.
Absolutely.
So much bigger.
So what do you consider to be your biggest accomplishment so far as part of this legacy?
Oh, wow. Whoa. So far, I think the fact that I'm about to have the second event this year for other creatives and members of the public, after being absolutely terrified about putting anything together. And now I'm just pulling things together and getting quite big brands involved. I think, wow, I'm doing it. I'm afraid, but now I'm doing it afraid. I'm holding my nose and I'm jumping in. I don't know how deep it is, but I'm still jumping in. Whereas before I'd step on the edge, step back, step on the edge, step back. Now I'm just going for it. I'm just going for it because I realise there are people who are watching that may never tell you that you inspire them, but you inspire them every single day. And if I can inspire somebody without them, I don't need people's validation. That was another thing. I used to need it. I don't need it anymore. I just do it.
That gave me goosebumps. Doing it afraid. I really love that. That's really, really powerful.
When I hit 40, that was my mantra.
Doing it afraid.
I do it afraid.
Yeah. But we've done a lot of things afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to
You
fake
just
it
have
till
to
you
go.
make it.
Absolutely. And you
Literally.
realise, after you do it, you're like, that actually wasn't anything to be afraid of.
No, exactly.
You know, just do it. Just do it afraid. I say it to the
I
students.
feel a
just do
book
it.
coming on. I feel a book coming on.
Feel it coming in.
Oh gosh, feel it coming on.
Trust me. Wow. So what does the future look like for you? You said it's all about the mission and
the mission. Okay, so there's a big project that I'm working on for 2019. Can't really go into much details, but it's at grassroots level at the moment. But it will be about supporting creatives in makeup artistry and beauty creatives, and really just supporting them with progression and their progression, tying in my skills and my expertise as a leader in education to really support them and bring them forward, bring them out of the shadows, make them just step up to the plate, and all the things they said they want to do, make them take the steps to do it. The end of this month, not this month. And if I say it, that means I have to finish it. So at the end of this month, not month, year.
Maybe you can do it by the end of this month.
No, I can't. No. December 2018, there will be a nice little freebie for anyone who passes through my Insta page. There'll be a nice little freebie.
From December, I'll be stalking your
notifications on.
As soon as you get.
Yeah, so it will be my Christmas present.
oh, lovely,
Yeah.
brilliant.
So it'll be a nice little freebie. Just once again to help others.
It's all about the legacy.
And then hopefully by the end of 2019, there will be another big project that I'm working on that will hopefully be unleashed by the fall or autumn of 2019. And that once again is tying in my educational skills with my makeup artistry skills.
We look forward to that.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
We can help you to promote it in any way. We're
Thank
always
you.
open.
Thank you.
So where can our audience learn a bit more about the skin?
Their skin. Okay, so I'm everywhere, as people like to say. I'm on LinkedIn and on Instagram, and that's Laurie B MUA. I'm on Twitter, and that's at Laurie-B MUA. I also have a WordPress blog, which is also Laurie B MUA.
And how do you spell Laurie?
So that's LORIBEEMUA.
Perfect. One last question.
No problems.
If you could go back to when you were in year 11, last day of secondary school, knowing all that you know now, what advice would you give yourself and why?
The first thing that came to mind, do afraid. I was so fearful. I was so fearful of what people thought of me. I was so fearful of, that if I did something, it was all reliant on other people's validation of me. I'm not saying that I'm this hard-hearted person that doesn't care, but I realised how much that held me back. And there's something that happens, I really believe, I don't know if it's because of the saying life begins at 40, but there's a point in your life, and it might be for some 30, it might be some 50, but where this light bulb just goes on and you're just like, you actually don't really matter that much. Mm-hmm. And who are they anyway? And a lot of my life was spent with, but what if they do this?
Yeah.
What if they think that? And up to now, I cannot identify. Can the real they stand up? Because I don't know who they are.
I actually wrote a
Yeah.
post about that for my morning motivational.
Yeah, because I was going to
And
say
I
you
was
say
saying,
that.
who is they?
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, I said that sometimes you can use they as your motivation.
Absolutely.
Because I think indirectly they becomes your motivation because you're so hell-bent on pleasing they
Yeah.
that you end up doing stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just how you look at them. But who the hell is they?
Who
If
are
anyone
they?
listening and you've identified they,
Well, it's funny because they is just an idea of what we think people think about us.
Absolutely. And I remember that being posted recently as well.
Yeah.
Around, we're so busy focusing on doing what everybody thinks we should be doing.
the perception of the perception of the
That's
perception.
the one,
Yeah.
yes. I've forgotten
so
his name.
crazy.
Quote.
It
Yeah.
was I can't remember. I know that we posted it.
Yes,
on
you
our
did.
Yeah, we did,
Instagram.
Yes,
yeah.
you did last week.
And
yeah.
it's the perception of the perception of the perception because we are worried about what we think other people think that
That's it.
we are. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's just
Crazy.
so-
Yeah, and it's such an
yeah.
easy trap to fall into.
Yeah, very much so. And one of my favourite quotes from Eleanor Roosevelt, it's just like, it's on my wall and everything. It's just you know, you can't even remember how to start it now. No one can make you feel inferior.
Yes. Yes.
No one.
Because
Exactly.
it's all in your head.
Absolutely. and from year 11, like you said, and a lot of my 20s and quite a bit of my 30s, just worrying about what people thought about me, for God's sake. Like, really? Really? And I have to say to myself, am I that egotistical that I think everybody's thinking about me or talking about me?
That's the other thing.
But do you know
Yeah.
what I think it is? I think it's because we've been conditioned from a young age to think that. Even if
Yeah.
you think about the school system, being a teacher,
Yeah.
we've always been taught to seek validation from everyone except ourselves.
Absolutely.
So even if you're good at something, you need someone to justify that.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why like things like awards and, you know, a position in class and all of those things, they stick in our subconscious.
Yes.
That's why when we leave school, there's no one there now telling us, oh, you did really well.
Yeah.
So you seek that from your friends and you seek that from everyone else and from society. But it's because it's been ingrained in us. So it's really figuring out like how do we change the system so that we're not constantly looking for validation. And unfortunately now the social validation is social media.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, I cringe sometimes when I think about things that I did just to be seen as the comedian. Like, not now, obviously. But, you know, like when you're with your friends
Yeah.
and you just want to make people laugh all the time. What is that? And I think also it comes from, and I noticed this a lot in the Caribbean culture. It might be in other cultures, but I can only speak for, you know, obviously a Caribbean upbringing. That whole thing of, you better not do that because people might think.
Yeah.
All of that, it just consumes your mind. I'm constantly doing something and not doing something because people might think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or it could also be, you know, stem all the way back to slavery. It could be a genetic thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're never good enough. So every black child's been told you have to work twice as hard to be twice, you know, twice as good. So all of those little things have been ingrained in us from a young age. So we just never feel like we match up to whoever they may be.
And I think one of the things I would say to makeup artists coming up as well is identify what your own strengths and your own niche is, because we all have it.
That's right.
So if you're focusing on that, you have no time to look at what the next door neighbour's niche is, because you're so focused and tunnel visioned on your own niche and being inspired by things or other people's work that feeds into your niche. You have no time. When you recognise that everybody has a different niche, you're not threatened by other people. There's only one us.
So winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners.
You speak to any athlete, winning athletes, they will tell you that they won before they even ran that race.
Exactly.
It's
been It is, absolutely. It's been absolutely brilliant in having you on.
Thank you for having
So
me.
insightful.
Like we said off air, we always leave here feeling like completely amazed and shocked, and we learnt a lot on this.
Thank
and
you.
it's very inspiring.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you
we
for
get
having me.
cancelled every episode.
Absolutely, man. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
man. Guys listening, do it afraid. That's one of the main takeaways. And thank you for your ears once again. It's been a brilliant conversation today. You can follow us on Instagram. That's at For The Creators Podcast on Instagram. On Twitter at @for_the_creators. Get in touch with us on the DMs. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts.
Because if you don't slide into the DMs, I'm going to slide into yours.
That's right. Yeah, Renee's always around the corner peeking like she's going to be in yours soon. So you might as well just come and say hi.
Exactly. Just come and say hi to me before I get to you first. But yes, please remember to, you know, write us a review if you listen to the episode and you enjoy it. Tell a friend. And also subscribe so that you never miss another episode.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.